Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RCGroups.com, and today I'm on the phone with Tomas from Legend Hobby. What's going on, Tomas?
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Jim. Just enjoying our morning here in Texas, getting ready for a great day. Hope everything's going well for you guys.
Oh, it's going to be a beautiful day here, perfect temps. We are, for everyone out there, going to talk to Tomas about Legend Hobby, kind of the story behind it. We're going to take a look at some of his awesome scale airplanes and the story behind those. And so let's kick it off. I'm going to jump over to the About page on Legend Hobby. Tomas, if you could tell us how you got into the hobby and then how that led to you actually selling RC airplanes.
Well, grew up like most guys, looking up in the sky at the aircraft flying over, and just thought, hey, someday I'll fly one of those. And after a little research, I found out you can actually get some really cool control line planes. So start out with a little Cox 049, like a lot of people, a lot of bruised knuckles and fingertips, and then eventually, after mowing enough lawns in the summer, got my first RC aircraft, a Carl Goldberg Eagle kit. Built one of those. And over time, just loved the hobby. It's been a lifetime hobby of mine for over 30 years, like a lot of guys out there and ladies out there. And eventually, I was flying at a local air show over here in Texas, and a guy from VQ Factory showed up and was like, "Hey, man, you want to buy one of my kits?" And I said, "Oh, I love your Aerocobra." So I got an Aerocobra from him. And next thing I know, I'm selling models at local air shows and on eBay. And eventually, we were able to start importing the VQ kits over 15 years ago. So that's kind of how I got started in the hobby and actually started Legend Hobby. It just was a hobby that turned into a kind of a cottage industry business.
So you sell the big birds, and I thought maybe what we'll talk about, because a lot of you out there might know VQ Warbirds, and now you have changed your name to Legend Hobby. Do you want to talk a little bit about the switch over from VQ to Legend?
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, got the opportunity, over 15 years ago to start selling VQ models at local air shows, and kind of grew out of that, like out of almost by accident, grew into a business, a real business. And so after 15 years of working with a factory, which was a great relationship, we still have a good relationship. Decided to go ahead and focus. Some opportunities open, some other doors closed, and I had an opportunity to basically take over importing Seagull models from Mike and Angie Gray over at Sky Shark. It was sad to see them leave the hobby industry for now, but I was happy that they kind of gave me the blessing and the nod to go ahead and take over Seagull for them. So they set me up with a factory, and the rest is behind us, and we're moving forward now, developing new planes and working with Seagull models. And it's been a great 2 years so far.
And I just want to say, I'm looking at this article about the Switch, and you have been at this for 15 years, so it's not like you're new to the hobby in any way.
Oh, no, not new at all. I learned a lot in the 15 years. Like I said, it started out kind of as an accident, just selling a couple models here and there for extra money, and just kept growing and growing and growing. And so, yeah, we've learned a lot over the last 15 years, and I'm using all that knowledge of things we developed. We helped develop a lot of models with VQ. The last model we developed was the big B-24 Liberator, and that was like over a 9-month project. And so we did several other airplanes with them as well, but that was the last one we did. So we're going to take all that knowledge we learned, and we're applying it now to Seagull, and we got a lot of really awesome things that we're working on. We do have a new OEM aircraft that we just finished. It was about 9 months in the making, and we have a new 86-inch A1 Skyraider. You should be seeing it online and in publications and video, and hopefully y'all can check that one out.
Well, let's do this. Let's jump to the home page. Right now, I'm sitting on the B2 or B24 Liberator page, and we're looking at some photos of that. Is there anything you want to talk about on that airplane while we're here?
Well, sure. Yeah, it's a 110-inch B-24 ARF. It's also available as an ARC. We only have a few of those left in stock. No, since I'm no longer going to be importing the VQ line for the foreseeable future, I definitely encourage people to get one of those while they can. It's always one of those models that people said, "Man, I wish I would have got one. It's such an awesome model. I just kept waiting, and now they're not available." So it's definitely one you want to put away. They're really awesome. It runs on either glow, like four strokes 8040, or you can use the electric motors on it too. Little E-flite 50s or 40s work on it just fine. It has a functional bomb drop release system that you can get for it. The doors do roll up, but they roll up manually. There's no real easy way to make it factory reproducible for all the kits we made. So we just let it up to the modeler to decide if they wanted to do a faux bomb release door inside, like a little
All right.
B-25 type thing, or just to roll them up manually and just do a bombing run, and then you can roll them back down. But the turrets is what I really love. All four turrets are servo operated, and we were lucky enough to work with Chris Wolf, the RC geek, and he made these cool little random movement servo chipboards that you can hook up all four servos to. So these turrets, while you're sitting there taxiing or just sitting there idling or flying around, all four turrets will move independently of each other and random. So it makes it look really, really realistic. It's one of my favorite features on this aircraft, other than the way it flies. We got a bunch of these out there flying, and they fly. Everybody, I know it sounds cliche, but everybody that has one that flies one will tell you it's just a heavy trainer. It just flies so well.
All right, Tomas, we're going to jump over to the homepage and look at some fresh new airplanes. And basically, we have home, the hangar, new products, photo album, video gallery, so they can see everything in flight. And maybe we'll take a look at that later. I tell you, the thing that always catches my eye when your ad goes by on RC Groups is the Skyraider. That thing just looks awesome.
Yes, Jim. Yeah, the new Skyraider. Thank you so much. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that thing, and I've always wanted a Skyraider. And a long time ago, Global offered a little small balsa kit for one. And several years ago, almost 10 years ago or more, there's a small company that had a very sports scale looking one, and I decided, one of the first aircraft I want as an OEM project for Legend Hobby is a Skyraider. So we set out to design one and get one going. And I figured the best thing to do is use available retracts and engines that most guys are flying now. Had to be 80 inches, just because you want an aircraft that's big enough to give you a lot of scale details. So with this aircraft being as 86 inches, it's not too big, it's not too small, but it's the right size to be able to fit all these features you're seeing on this video. As they're doing this elephant walk, you can see the big, huge drop tanks that really needs to be on a Skyraider. So we include those in the deluxe kit. It actually has 12 rockets on the wings as well. Those are also included in the deluxe kit. And if you notice, the antennas on the back of the spine of the Skyraider, that's a real signature thing there too. So those are included, and it's really cool. Those actually plug in with banana plugs, so you can remove them if you have to turn your airplane over, or you're worried about knocking them off or transporting your aircraft. And then a lot of other kits also don't include details like the scale cockpit kit, for instance. It's always like an upcharge for a nice one. Most kits will give you a real basic one. Our scale cockpit is fully detailed. It even has the ejection seat behind the cockpit, behind the pilot seat for you, right. And has a really nice dashboard. It's not one of those 3D sports scale iMac, pre-printed generic dashboards. It's got actual print off a Skyraider cockpit, so it's really nice. And a lot of other kits have really cheesy gear doors. Our gear doors are all fiberglass, so we have a lot of fiberglass components in here. A cheap way to make planes is use a lot of plastic. So on this model, since it's my OEM product, we decided to use pretty much everything fiberglass. So the gear doors are fiberglass. The big, huge 3 pylons are fiberglass. The drop tanks, believe it or not, those are even fiberglass. And so you get a lot of value for your money. All the hardware is actually included for the gear doors to make them operate. You don't have to figure it out yourself. We really thought this thing through 100%. And, of course, the factory built us our 3 prototypes. We brought them to Texas. We had them built here, detailed, and flown here. So they're pilot approved. We made more than 21 revisions between the time that we had the pre-production models till we went to production. So we really went through this aircraft, and we want it to be a fun weekend flyer and scale competition aircraft as well. So most guys are going to say, hey, let's just put a G62 on it or 60cc on it, and it won't fly with anything less, is what people always think. But we actually have this aircraft in this video. You'll see the one with the smoke system on right now. That one is actually a 60cc EME that we have with a 20 by 10 4-blade Bila prop. This Camo one is an electric one on a 50cc Outrunner with 12S. And then the last one that's camo, the Vietnamese camo one that's fully fiberglass, painted, panel line, detailed, is actually flying with our EME 35cc. So we put a 35cc on this 86-inch aircraft that does weigh 29 and a half pounds fully loaded with all the bombs, all the rockets, smoke system, every option. And that's this one right here coming on the flyby. And he flies it regularly on his 35cc with smoke.
Wow.
So we were just wanting to show everybody that this model is flexible. You don't have to have the biggest engine to make it fly. You know, anything 40cc, 60cc will fly it. We're close to sea level, so I wouldn't recommend a 35cc if you're up in Denver, you know, mile high city. But just showing that most people in the United States and overseas can actually fly this with as little as a 35cc and even have smoke and all the options on it, just as a testament to this to Skyraider's design, you know. So we're really, really happy with this aircraft, and we hope that you guys can definitely buy one, get one at your flying field, because I know once you have one, you'll say, man, it's an incredible aircraft.
You can always, if you're watching the video, I'll have a link to Legend Hobby in the description. So you can go take a look. If you see something that you have to have, you can jump out and go take a look. Let's jump back to the home page. That is so awesome, by the way. It's more
Thank you.
awesome than the ad really relates, I think.
Yeah, it comes in three. It comes in three
Ah,
versions right now.
gotcha.
So we have the camo version, the gray version, uncovered version, and then in December we'll have the dark blue navy version that's going to be on the cover of Model Airplane News next month or in a
Wow.
couple months.
Score.
Because you can do so much with the Skyraider. It's a really awesome aircraft. I'm surprised more people haven't produced them.
Right. Such a good looking
So
airplane.
if,
Yeah.
if you go if you go to the search screen at the very top, the search bar, just type in Shot Cub. That's one of the new products, and you actually had a feature article in Flying Giants or RC Groups, both.
I think I put it on both. The shot cup one word, I think.
2 words.
There we go. This thing is also crazy good looking. It always gets comments. Jason and I were both talking about it when it came out. So tell us about this. I mean, it just looks so good.
Well, Shot Cub is an amazing, amazing aircraft. Everybody in the STOL, short takeoff and landing community, knows all about the Zlin Aviation. They're famous worldwide for getting aircraft and customizing them and being able to build scratch built factory ultra short takeoff landing aircraft. And the STOL community has really grown from the full scale STOLs to the RC STOLs. You're seeing now that Reno next year is going to have short takeoff landing Reno races. So they actually have events now in Reno next year for STOL aircraft. It's going to be pretty amazing. I think you're going to see STOL community growing and growing. But our model is actually a model of a full scale aircraft. It's one of the new aircraft from Zlin, one of their newest aircraft from Zlin. They're sold worldwide, and the full scale one's powered by a Rotax and other power plants, but they can take off they can take off really short distance thanks to those leading edge slats. They're functional on the full scale aircraft. They're full floating on the full scale aircraft. As you know, not everything translates perfectly to models. So on the Seagull model Shot Cub, it is 102 inches, and you can run anywhere from a 35cc up to a 50cc engine on it. That's what's recommended from the factory. And the leading edge slats are functional on this model, similar to the full scale. And I say similar because on this model, you can either leave them free floating, or you can actually connect them servo to the flaps, and you can have a percentage of leading edge slat to flap operation, which will help you with STOL activities and events. But overall, the model has a functional struts. Those struts have a huge travel, and it sits on factory 5.5-inch pneumatic wheels and tires. So it has a little nipple there. You can actually air up or air down your
Ah,
tires.
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty slick, and it does come in those two in color schemes, the yellow and black, which is really bright and easy to see, and the really sleek looking silver and black scheme. They're both scale schemes of full scale Shot Cubs, and we have our first model in the United States flying as of about 2 months ago, which would have been in September, really late September, early October. And gentleman Fitz Walker over at Hobbyview was actually doing the review for us, and we gave him a
Right.
40cc, provided him with a 40cc RCGF twin Stinger engine, which we also offer, of course. And it fits totally inside the cowling, so you get that nice scale look and a really good sounding engine, and it powers it very nicely. He was experiencing just during initial flights takeoffs of 5 feet or less, which is pretty cool. And he's able to basically hover stall, land it, 3-point land the model. And yeah, so he's really having fun with it. And several other uses, David Walker and some other guys are also flying these, and they're having a blast with it. They really like the leading edge slats. And interestingly enough, Jim, most of them are not connecting them to the flaps with the servo. They're actually leaving them free floating,
Okay.
and that's what they're testing them right now. But they're having a lot of fun with it. And you can of course power it with electric as well. It has an
Well,
electric battery. It has an electric battery tray, and thanks to the large right-hand side door, you actually lift up the door, and it's magnetic, so it'll hold up to the wing, and you can slide in your batteries easily on a battery tray.
very nice. When I was at Oshkosh, that's the first time I'd seen stall airplanes like this in real life, and they're just so amazing looking.
They're pretty cool. The most common funny comment we get about it is it looks like the customers say that it looks like a Piper Cub had a baby with a Feisler Storch. So, but it's a pretty cool hybrid aircraft.
All right, where to next?
We can go if you type in at the search bar Moraine Saulnier, Morane. Actually, just type in Moraine, Morane.
All right, so we're looking at the Seagulls Model 1/3 scale Moraine Saulnier. Is that right?
Uh huh.
Tell us about this thing.
This is one of the first large scale World War One aircraft that Seagull Models is putting out, and
Wow.
this is a really cool aircraft. It's one of the first World War One aircraft that the French designed to have a machine gun firing through the propeller arc.
Right, right.
And sadly enough, the history on it wasn't too glamorous for the French, other than it was their first aircraft that really used a machine gun. It was designed by two gentlemen. One was last name Moraine, the other Saulnier. That's where you got the Moraine Saulnier from. And a lot of people actually mislabel this as an A1. It's actually AI. It goes with the series of the aircraft. But anyway, this aircraft itself is a really good looking airplane. It was very aerobatic back in the day, and it got a lot of bad publicity early on, saying that it had some bad tendencies of flight. In terms of structural integrity, is what the French said. Some of the people that didn't like the aircraft, but the pilots themselves all loved. The pilots themselves all loved the aircraft, and many were sold for civilian use. And there's aerobatic teams and pilots in France that actually flew these after they were decommissioned from the military, and went on and flew them for years and years and loved the aircraft and never experienced any bad tendencies that some early reports had given the aircraft. Most of these aircraft actually spent their life outside of combat. They actually made them trainers in the military. So it had a very mixed history. But any pilot that was interviewed or talked to, it spoke so highly of that aircraft and loved the aircraft so much. So in France, it's a very popular aircraft, and a lot of pilots are really looking forward to this release. And we should have our first models in late December / early January, just pending logistics and customs and all that kind of stuff. But it's a nice size aircraft at 1/3 scale, which is a 102-inch wingspan, and we're going to offer them fully ARF'd, camo covered already,
Okay.
with all the decals applied. And also for all the purists out there that really want to cover it in fabric, and paint it, dope it up and paint it and all that. We also will offer it in uncovered versions, ARC as most people call them, almost ready to cover. So you can go ahead and get a really beautifully built structure and go ahead and make it your canvas and paint it up the way you really want to and cover it with the material you want to.
So,
I don't know if you noticed. Sorry, there's a machine gun included. It's all laser cut. It's very similar to some very popular balsa models out there. The steel landing gears all included, the struts for the wings, all the things that you see in this photo are included, including the really nice World War One wheels and pilot figure.
the main image I was looking at while you were talking, is that a real airplane or is that the model?
The camouflage one is the actual real aircraft,
Gotcha.
and I just got the pictures literally this past week for the full production one, and it looks exactly the same. It's gorgeous.
Right. Yeah.
The covering on and the paint scheme. Yeah.
Let's go look at some specs. What do you think this thing's going to price out at?
It's going to be the same price as the 102-inch shock cub, just because the amount of steel used for the struts and the landing gear are similar. The amount of wood required to build the wing and the fuselage is pretty much identical. So we're able to keep it the same price as the shock cub. So it's going to be right at 745, 749, right in that range.
So we're 103-inch wingspan, flying weight 25 to 30 pounds.
And we do have a really cool relationship with RCGF USA. Um, those engines are awesome. It's basically, I would call them like their new generation of RCGF engines, genuine RCGF engines. There's that whole controversy several years ago.
Yes.
So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, these are genuine RCGF Stinger engines. We have a new 52cc twin that they put out. So that's definitely going to be one of the recommended engines for this airplane. And of course, we have our really awesome EME 60s with auto start. That'd be really cool on this airplane.
And that's going for $439
with auto start. Yes, sir.
So much cool stuff. I got to ask you, do you have these airplanes in the shop? Do you fly all these things, or do you have particular birds that you sell that you really like and you fly?
So yeah, flying and having a business has been a a double-edged sword. They always say, don't make your hobby your business, because then it becomes business. So yeah, over the past several years, I've gotten so busy that I haven't actually had time to do much flying anymore, as much as I would like, or even at all. So most of the time I get to enjoy watching my fellow pilots fly all the aircraft. But I do have all these aircraft in our warehouse here in Texas. So whenever I feel like it, I can definitely open up the box and start assembling one.
Let's talk about being in Texas. I'm from Sherman, Texas, north of Dallas. And where are you looking?
We're right outside of Houston. We're about an hour and a half from Houston in College Station, Texas.
Gotcha. That's where my dad went to college.
It's a good university. Yes, sir.
So tell us about ordering from you. We go in. So we want the Legend Hobby Skyraider camo. I'm going to add to cart.
And then from here, you have two options. You can go straight to checkout, or you can actually view your cart and get your estimated shipping costs.
Right.
We recommend setting up an account as well. That way you can keep track of your order history. You can check in on it anytime you want, see what you've ordered, if you need a receipt, whatever. So we always recommend setting up an account if you can. Right there, you can calculate shipping on your left there. You can just put in your state, your zip code, and it'll give you a calculated shipping.
And
it's not necessary, but if you want to do it before you finish checking out. A lot of people like to check their shipping costs and everything else. And then once you have that, you can proceed to checkout.
Let me get Tennessee in here. Update. So shipping $66. Total $96267. So then we have our options, credit card or PayPal.
Correct.
And then you get the order and tell us what happens then.
Well, as soon as we get the order, we try to ship everything out Monday through Friday within 24 hours to 72 hours, just like the big box stores do. And you automatically will receive a tracking number, an email, a customized tracking email as soon as we print the label. We're really close to FedEx. FedEx is our friend. They come by and pick up every day. And for some reason we miss the pickup, we try to take it every evening. So we're pretty good at shipping out most standard orders. If you're going to order anything that's a specialty item like old ESM parts, discontinued parts, we still have a whole storage unit full of ESM parts. We're trying to support ESM customers as long as we possibly can. We've even made reproduction canopies for a lot of them. We still house some cockpit kits and accessories and parts. Those items will take longer just because they're not as mainstream anymore, but we try to keep them available for people, pilots. So if you order anything ESM, you can always drop us an email and just check on the ESM order. Those take us a bit longer to fill because we do have to go back in storage and pull them out of storage and fill the order. But we're going to try to support those customers as long as possible.
So you have models, you have radios and accessories, you have spare parts, you have retracts and accessories, engines, motors, cockpit kits, pilots, and accessories. So basically, anyone that wanted to walk out the door with a totally scale airplane and all the things it takes to put it in the air, they're all in your shop.
Yeah, we continue to add. We continue to add weekly, monthly as we can. We're trying. We're trying to carry most items. We don't want to carry every specific possible part because nowadays there's a gazillion different electric motors, a gazillion different connectors. But we try to carry the main things. We try to get you set up with an electric motor, gas engine, servos, the airframe, retracts, and scale features and options to go with it. We're not a full shop in terms of every single fitting and all that kind of stuff, as everybody has their own preferences and brands nowadays. But we try to get you the main components that you need to make you set right and get you in the right direction for success.
Gotcha. So I would say to you, the viewer out there, be sure to watch for RC Groups for stories about Legend Hobby. And we're going to have updates. There's going to be a special section for Legend Hobby and some of the deals coming up for the holiday season. As we're getting to the end of the video, Tomas, is there anything you want to tell everyone out there, or any upcoming planes or anything that needs to be said?
Oh, y'all want some inside secrets?
Yeah, let's do that. That's awesome.
You want some hobby industry gossip? We can give you a lot of hobby industry gossip or upcoming models. So yeah, we're doing our own OEM line. I had a lot of stuff, like I said, I'd done before with VQ, and it was an OEM, so of course I have no rights to it. And anyway, so what I decided to do with Legend Hobby is actually have an OEM line built by Seagull models for me. So they're actually manufactured by Seagull models for me at Legend Hobby. So our first one, like I said, was a A1 Skyraider, which I think is going to be a huge hit. We have a next few models coming up. We're actually working on if I can go ahead and spill the beans now, we're bringing back a 82.5-inch T28. It's going to have a very scale outline and lots of scale features, and it'll be available in 3 versions. Sundowner red and white color scheme, the Jolly Roger T28 color scheme, and an uncovered version for those who want to fiberglass prime and paint and detail it out completely. And that'll be coming out in the springtime. We're also working on a non-OEM aircraft. We're actually working on a Corsair with Seagull. It's a joint project. I think it's going to shock everybody how nice this new Corsair comes out. The Corsair is 86 inches. I call it the top flight replacement. A lot of guys out there are brokenhearted what happened to Top Flight and the handling of it by other big box companies. So we decided to go ahead and bring out a Top Flight replacement. You can basically get your Top Flight Corsair gear, engine and servos, and stick it into our new 86-inch Corsair that's coming out the summer of 21. And it's going to feature full sheeting. There's no open bays to skimp on balsa wood to try to make an airplane cheaper. We're doing the full reinforced plywood spars, reinforced plywood landing gear, rails, cockpit kit, some pylon releases for the center section, gear doors, scale tail wheel. It's going to be loaded, and I think everybody's going to really enjoy this new Corsair coming out in the summer of 21. It's a joint project between us and Seagull. And then we have another surprise coming. It's kind of like a big flagship aircraft, and this one is actually being built for us by somebody else, not Seagull, but we have a 14-foot OV-10 Bronco coming. Nice. And we'll have our first prototype pre-production model by the end of December. And we also have a 125-inch B-17. This is my follow-up to the B-24 we did. So this one we're doing 1/10 scale, and it's a 125-inch B-17, and it'll have a lot of the same features that our B-24 has. So it'll have the turrets that move randomly by servo, and have a working bomb bay that actually has the doors that actually open and close. And we are also doing a lot of things to the model to enhance its flying capabilities and habits. And the gear are going to be Robart gear, just like the Corsair, just like the T28. And the T28 and Corsair will also probably fit the Sierra gear. So good things coming for the B-25 fans out there. I mean, B-20. Sorry, can you cut that? Can you cut that out? Lots of great things coming for all the B-17 fans out there that have been asking for a follow-up to the B-24. It's coming, and it'll be available in 3 versions also. uncovered for those that want a fiberglass and painted, the green and gray scheme, and the silver color schemes on those models. And we have a couple other secrets that'll be released to the public in December. Some more never before modeled aircraft that are coming for everybody that's tired of Mustangs and tired of the same old, same old. We got some more exciting models coming, and we're looking forward to sharing those with you in the future.
Well, keep your eye out on RC Groups. Definitely at the top of the forum at the around the end of November. Keep your eye out for Legend Hobby, and anything that is new coming from this company will definitely be featured on the site. And a lot of exciting, really great stuff. Tomas, I want to thank you for being on the sites, on all of our sites, and taking some time out today to talk to us.
Well, thanks for having me, and appreciate all the customers out there, all the fellow pilots out there. Thanks for your support over the years, and all I can say is hang on, because 21 is going to be exciting for the RC aviation field. We're not bringing you the same old, same old. We're going to bring you some exciting new products that you've been wanting and asking for. That's really going to make you smile ear to ear. We're going to have a great year in 21. Just hang on for the ride.
Awesome. And if you want to check them out, go to www.legendhobby.com. I'm Jim T. Graham with RC Groups. We've been talking to Tomas from Legend Hobby, and we will see you guys on the site.